There is a video on the internet that has been watched over 40 million times. In it, a man hobbles down his driveway on crutches, his leg wrapped in a heavy plaster cast. Beside him, his dog lifts one paw and limps in perfect, heartbreaking synchrony. The comments are filled with laughter. People call the dog a faker, a drama queen, a little con artist angling for extra treats. And every single one of them is wrong. What you are watching in that video is not a performance. It is a miracle. It is one of the most sophisticated neurological events that can happen between two different species on this planet. And once you understand what is actually happening inside your dog's brain when they do this, you will never see them the same way again. There is a 4-year-old Basset Hound named Walter who lives in a small house in Columbus, Ohio. Walter has enormous velvet ears that drag across the kitchen floor when he walks, a voice like a foghorn, and one specific habit that his owner, a physical therapist named Marcus who commutes 90 minutes each way, has never once thought to question. Every evening, without fail, when Marcus finally collapses onto the couch with the particular kind of exhaustion that only comes from carrying other people's pain all day, Walter does not run to his water bowl, does not scratch at the back door, does not demand anything at all. He simply walks over, slow and deliberate, and places the full, warm weight of his chin on Marcus's knee. And then he sighs, a long, low, settling sigh, as if he too has been waiting all day for this exact moment of rest. Marcus thinks Walter is just tired. He has no idea that Walter has been reading him since the moment he walked through the door. That quiet moment between a dog and a person at the end of a long day, that small, wordless offering of warmth, is not random. It is not trained behavior. It is the visible surface of something ancient and extraordinary happening deep inside the canine brain. Something science has only recently begun to fully understand. To understand why your dog does what Walter does, we have to talk about a discovery made in the early 1990s that completely changed how scientists think about empathy. A research team was studying the brains of macaque monkeys. They had implanted tiny sensors to track which brain cells fired during specific physical movements. One day, a researcher reached out and picked up a piece of food, and something impossible happened. The neurons in the monkey's brain that controlled its own hand began to fire. Not because the monkey moved, because the monkey watched someone else move. The cells lit up as if the monkey itself had reached for the food, even though it was sitting completely still. Scientists named these cells mirror neurons, and they changed everything. Think about the last time you watched someone slam their finger in a car door. That sharp, involuntary flinch you felt, that phantom jolt of pain in your own hand, that was your mirror neurons firing. They are the reason you yawn when someone else yawns. They are the reason a mother in a movie theater crying on screen can make the woman 3 seats over cry without knowing exactly why. Mirror neurons collapse the wall between your experience and someone else's. They allow one nervous system to physically echo the state of another. They are, in the most literal biological sense, the hardware that empathy runs on. And here is where this becomes something you will want to share with every person you know who owns a dog. Your dog has them too. A highly tuned, extraordinarily sensitive mirror neuron system wired directly into their brain. But that is not even the most astonishing part. Over 30,000 years of living alongside humans, something happened to the canine mirror neuron system that is almost without parallel in the natural world. It evolved to resonate not just with other dogs. It evolved to resonate specifically, powerfully, and deeply with us. Scientists call this interspecific motor resonance, the ability of one species to neurologically mirror another. And in dogs, it is not a weak, general response. It is a finely tuned, almost obsessive attunement to the bodies and the emotions of the humans they love. Picture a small thing. A dog at the front window, nose pressed against the cold glass, watching the street. Their tail is still. Their ears are forward. They have been there for 10 minutes. They heard a sound 2 blocks away that their owner will not hear for another 4 minutes. They were already waiting before the car turned onto the street. That attunement did not appear by accident. It was built. And to understand how, we have to look at a study that proved something most scientists thought would be impossible to prove. Researchers in Vienna wanted to know whether dogs copy humans automatically, the way a mirror reflects without choosing to, or whether it is a calculated behavior, a trained response, a trick for a treat. So they designed an experiment with a sliding door, 2 methods of opening it, and a choice that would cost the dogs something real. The dogs were taught to open the door either with their paw or with their head. Then they watched their owners open the same door. Half the dogs were rewarded when they copied their owner exactly. The other half were rewarded only when they did the opposite of what their owner did. If the owner used their hand, the dog had to use their head to earn the food. A simple, logical rule. And the dogs could not do it. Even when the food reward was right there, waiting, even after hundreds of attempts, the pull to mirror their owner's movements was so strong, so deeply wired into their neurology, that they would forfeit the treat just to stay in physical sync with the human in front of them. The urge to copy was not a choice. It was a command from somewhere older and deeper than decision-making. And now think about Walter. Think about the exact angle of his chin on Marcus's knee. Think about that sigh. Because what Walter is doing at the end of every long Tuesday is not accidental comfort. It is biological devotion. His nervous system has been reading Marcus's body since the front door opened. The slight drop in his shoulders, the particular slowness of his footsteps, the way he sits, not with the quick efficiency of a good day, but with the careful, lowering collapse of someone who is spent. Walter's mirror neurons are translating all of that in real time into his own felt experience. He does not know the word exhaustion, but his body knows the weight of it, because his brain is designed to carry it alongside the person he loves. But the mirroring does not stop at movement. It does not stop at posture or pace or the slow drag of tired feet. What researchers discovered next goes so much deeper than anyone expected. And it is the part that, once you hear it, will make you look at your dog's face in a completely different way. Your dog's heart is beating right now. And if you are stressed, if you have been anxious or overwhelmed today, there is a very good chance it is beating differently because of you. Not metaphorically, literally, measurably, in a way that scientists have now captured on electrocardiogram data, in a way that shows up as a visible, undeniable curve on a graph. This is where the science stops being interesting and starts being almost too much to hold. Researchers wanted to know whether the emotional mirroring between dogs and humans was only behavioral, only visible in movement and posture and the tilt of a head. So they attached heart monitors to both dogs and their owners simultaneously. Then they put the owners through something genuinely stressful. They were criticized, pressured, made to feel like they were failing at a task. And the researchers watched what happened to the dogs, in real time, beat by beat. As the human's heart rate shifted, as the invisible tide of stress chemicals flooded the owner's body, the dog's heart began to follow. Not immediately, with a slight, tender delay, like an echo. And then, together, the two hearts moved through the experience as one. The longer a dog had lived with their owner, the stronger and more precise the synchronization became. The dog was not just sensing that something was wrong. Their body was physically joining the owner inside the experience of it. Think about what that means for a Tuesday night. Think about Marcus on the couch. Think about Walter's long, settling sigh. Walter is not just resting beside Marcus. Walter's heart is adjusting to Marcus's heart. His nervous system is quietly, invisibly aligning itself. And it goes even one layer deeper than the heart, because scientists then looked at the brain itself. In a study that used technology that would have seemed like science fiction 20 years ago, researchers measured the brain waves of humans and dogs during extended periods of shared interaction. They found that over the course of several days together, the electrical rhythms of the human brain and the dog's brain began to physically align. They synchronized, not loosely, with enough precision to be statistically measured, to be graphed, to be proven. By the 7th day of the study, the interbrain coupling, the literal synchronization of neural activity between species, had solidified into something stable and clear. The researchers then used genetic tools to create dogs with a specific social impairment, and those dogs showed significantly weaker brainwave coupling with their human partners. Which means this synchronization is not a side effect of proximity or routine. It is a specific, genetically coded feature of what a dog is built to do. Your dog is not just in the room with you. Their brain is tuning to yours. Right now, every day, without a single conscious decision on either side. There is another dog worth knowing. A 7-year-old rescue greyhound named Celeste, impossibly thin and impossibly graceful, who lives with a woman named Priya, a software engineer who works from home and rarely speaks out loud before noon. Priya had a terrible morning one winter. A project she had spent 3 months building was rejected in a single email. She did not cry. She did not make a sound. She sat very still at her desk, staring at the screen, and felt the particular hollow silence of something collapsing. Celeste, who had been asleep in the next room on her bed, walked in without being called. She stood beside the desk for a moment. Then she placed her long, narrow head gently against Priya's arm and did not move for 11 minutes. Priya timed it later, half in disbelief, 11 minutes of perfect, unmoving stillness. Celeste did not know what an email was. She did not know what a project was. But something in the air of that room had shifted, and Celeste felt it before Priya had even fully felt it herself. This is not a story about a sweet dog. This is a story about an extraordinarily sensitive biological instrument doing exactly what it was designed to do across millions of years of evolution. And here is the part that changes how you think about all of this. The next time you are having a hard day and your dog presses close, or rests their weight against your leg, or simply follows you from room to room without any apparent reason, try this. Stop where you are. Sit down on the floor if you can. Place your hand flat and open on their side. And breathe. Slowly, deliberately. Researchers have found that dogs will begin to synchronize their breathing with a calm, regulated human within minutes. You are not just comforting them. You are giving their nervous system something stable to tune to. You are having a conversation in the oldest language either of you knows. That is not a trick. That is 2 nervous systems choosing to be at peace together. But the question that none of this science has fully answered yet is why? Why did evolution build a creature so exquisitely, so specifically, so almost painfully attuned to human suffering? To find that answer, we have to leave the house entirely. We have to go back so far that there are no houses, no cities, no roads, only snow, and hunger, and a pack moving through darkness, and the terrifying, beautiful reality that the only thing standing between survival and death was whether or not you were willing to feel what the animal beside you was feeling. Before the first dog ever slept beside a human fire, Before the first puppy was ever hand-fed or named or loved, there was a wolf. And that wolf lived by a single, unbreakable law. You survive together, or you do not survive at all. We have a habit of imagining wolves the way old stories told us to. Brutal, hierarchical, ruled by dominance and force, where the strong thrive and the weak are left behind. That image is wrong. Modern behavioral science has dismantled it almost entirely. What researchers have found, after decades of patient, careful observation in places like Yellowstone, is something far more quietly astonishing. Wolves live in tight family units. They mourn their dead. They nurse their injured back to health. They make peace after conflict. They actively comfort the members of their pack who have lost a fight. And they do something that, once you understand it, makes the phantom limp not just beautiful, but inevitable. When one wolf is hurt, the entire pack slows down. Not because they are ordered to, not because a dominant animal demands it, because the mirror neurons in every healthy wolf in that pack fire the moment they see the injured animal's altered stride. The limp travels through the group like a current. The whole family feels the weight of that broken step in their own legs, and so they slow, automatically, without discussion, as one organism adjusting to protect its most vulnerable member. Think about what it would mean if they did not. If a wolf was gashed during a hunt and began to fall behind, and the rest of the pack simply kept their normal pace because they could not feel what the injured wolf was feeling, within miles, the pack would string out across the landscape. The injured wolf would be alone in the dark with whatever had hurt them. In the wild, alone is another word for dead. Somatic empathy, feeling the physical state of another in your own body, is not a luxury that evolution gifted to wolves out of some ancient tenderness. It is the mechanism that kept the pack intact. It is the reason they survived winters that killed everything else. The empathy is the strategy. The love is the survival tool. And the data from Yellowstone makes this real in a way that is almost hard to read. Researchers spent years tracking 193 distinct wolf packs, accumulating over a century of combined data. They found that when a pack loses even a single member, its chances of staying together through the end of the year drop by 27%. When it loses a pack leader, the odds of survival drop by 73%. 73%. The loss of one animal, one heartbeat, one member of the family, does not just wound the group, it can end it entirely. The pack is not a collection of individuals. It is a single living thing. And the thread that holds it together is the capacity of each member to feel what the others feel. Your dog knows this. Not consciously, not in words, but in every cell of their body, the ancient knowledge is still there. The pack does not leave its own behind. The pack does not let you suffer alone. Now bring that out of the snow and into your living room. There is something that happens in every dog owner home that most people have noticed, but almost no one has named. A dog who is perfectly healthy begins to move more slowly on a day when their owner is in pain. A dog who usually runs to the door at the sound of a leash instead walks, quiet and close, beside a person who is limping. A dog who has been energetic all week suddenly becomes still and watchful on the day their person comes home from the hospital. These are not coincidences. These are not the dog being lazy or tired or confused. This is locomotor contagion, the automatic synchronization of movement between bonded individuals. The same ancient mechanism that kept the wolf pack moving as one through the dark. Walter does it. On the days when Marcus comes home not just tired, but truly depleted, the kind of tired that goes past the body into something harder to name, Walter does not bring his rope toy. He does not bark at the back door. He walks at Marcus's pace exactly. Not one step faster, not one step ahead. Right there, matching him, stride for stride, down the hallway toward the couch where they will both, in their own way, finally rest. Think about the African wild dog for a moment. A species that hunts in coordinated, cooperative groups with a success rate of around 80%, compared to the 20 or 30% achieved by predators who hunt alone. 80%. The difference between thriving and barely surviving. And researchers who have studied them closely point to one primary reason for that extraordinary success. They do not abandon their injured. They share food with the weak. They coordinate their movements with almost impossible precision. Their empathy is the engine of their effectiveness. The feeling is what makes them unstoppable. And here is a thought that is easy to walk past without fully stopping for. That same architecture, that same ancient, battle-tested, evolutionarily proven capacity for somatic empathy is lying on your couch right now, waiting for you to come home. Your dog is not a distant descendant of that biology. They are a living expression of it, shaped and refined and redirected over 30,000 years of domestication to focus its full, breathtaking power on one specific target. You. Not the pack in the abstract, not the species, you. The particular rhythm of your footsteps, the specific weight of your exhale, the exact temperature of your grief. The next time your dog follows you from room to room on a day when you have not asked them to, try pausing in a doorway and looking back at them, really looking. Because what you are seeing is not clinginess, it is a sentinel. It is a nervous system perpetually scanning the most important member of its pack for any sign that something is shifted, that something needs to be felt together rather than alone. That is not neediness. That is devotion so old it predates language itself. But understanding where this biology came from is only the beginning. Because once you bring it home, once you watch it operating in the specific, ordinary moments of a shared life, something even more remarkable becomes visible. The way somatic empathy moves between a dog and a human is not just mirroring. It is not just reflection. It becomes something reciprocal, something that flows in both directions. And what science has begun to document about what happens to a human body, a grieving body, a sick body, a frightened body, when a dog presses close and stays, that is where this story becomes almost too beautiful to hold inside a single breath. There is a moment that happens in living rooms and hospital beds and kitchen floors all over the world, every single day, that no one has ever made a movie about. A person is crying. Not performing grief, not the kind of crying that wants to be witnessed, but the private, ugly, unguarded kind. The kind that comes when you finally stop holding it together. And without a word, without a sound, a dog crosses the room and simply arrives. They do not fix anything. They cannot. They just press their warm, solid weight against the person who is falling apart. And they stay. Science wanted to know what was actually happening in that moment. Not poetically, physically, in the body. Researchers at Goldsmiths College adapted an experiment originally designed to test empathy in human infants and applied it to dogs. They placed 18 dogs in a room with 2 people, their own owner and a complete stranger. The humans took turns doing 3 things: talking normally, humming an odd tune, and crying. Genuinely distressed, audible, visible crying. Here is what the self-interest theory of dog behavior would predict. A dog who only cares about resources, about treats and comfort and the safety of their own familiar person, would retreat from a crying stranger. They would move toward their owner for self-protection. They would treat a weeping, unknown human as a threat or an inconvenience. That is not what happened. When the stranger cried, the dogs did not go to their owners. They went to the stranger. They approached slowly, with lowered heads and soft postures, the body language of comfort rather than curiosity. They nuzzled. They rested their heads against the person who was hurting. They did not check whether there was a reward coming. They did not look to their owners for permission. They moved toward the pain as if they could not do otherwise. Because they could not. This is the part that dismantles every cynical interpretation of what dogs are and what they want. They were not heading toward the crying stranger to get something. They were heading there because their nervous system had registered distress and issued a command that felt to the dog as automatic and necessary as breathing. Go. Be there. Stay. And now multiply that generalized response to a stranger by the specific, years-long, heartbeat synchronized, brain-wave-coupled bond they have with you. The person whose shoes they have memorized by smell. The person whose breathing pattern they know in the dark. The person whose sadness has, on some cellular level, become their sadness too. Walter has been with Marcus for 6 years. 6 years of Tuesday evenings. 6 years of long commutes and double shifts and the specific exhaustion of a person who spends their days helping other people heal. There was one Tuesday, about 2 winters ago, when Marcus came home and did not turn on any lights. He sat down on the kitchen floor, which he had never done before. Not on the couch, not in his chair, the floor. And Walter, who had been asleep in the bedroom, walked in and found him there. He did not bark. He did not pace. He walked directly to Marcus, turned one slow circle, and lay down with his full body pressed against Marcus's side. His head on Marcus's leg, his breathing slow and even. And the two of them stayed there on the cold kitchen floor for a long time, in the dark, while something unnamed passed through the room and gradually, slowly, became smaller. Marcus told his sister about it later. He said he did not know how Walter knew. He said it felt like being found. He was right. That is exactly what it was. Because here is what was happening in that kitchen, biologically, in real time. The warm pressure of Walter's body against Marcus's side was triggering the release of oxytocin in Marcus's brain. Oxytocin is the same chemical rush of love a mother feels the first time she holds her newborn baby. It is the hormone of bonding, of safety, of the nervous system deciding that it is allowed to put down its weapons. Studies have shown that just 10 minutes of contact with a dog produces measurable drops in stress chemicals in the human body. Blood pressure falls, heart rate steadies. The invisible flood of stress chemicals that had been running through Marcus all day began, slowly, to recede. Not because anything had been solved, because something alive and warm had decided to stay. And while Marcus's body was calming, Walter's was calibrating. His heart rate was synchronizing to the steadier rhythm Marcus's body was beginning to find. 2 nervous systems, mid-conversation, in the dark, on a kitchen floor. Think about your own dog for a moment. Think about a time they came to you when you were low, not because you called them, not because it was dinner time, just because they came. Maybe they pushed their nose under your hand. Maybe they climbed somewhere they were not supposed to be, just to be closer to your face. Maybe they simply lay across your feet like a warm anchor, as if to say, "You are not going anywhere, and neither am I." That was not an accident. That was not a bid for attention. That was 30,000 years of evolution, 2 nervous systems woven together by time and trust, and one animal doing the only thing its entire biology was designed to do. Stay with you inside it, whatever it is. And the most quietly staggering thing about all of this is that your dog has no idea it is remarkable. They do not know they are defying the boundary between species. They do not know they are synchronizing heartbeats, or aligning brainwaves, or triggering ancient neurochemical cascades. They are just doing what feels, to them, like the only possible thing to do when the person they love is hurting. They are just coming over. They are just staying. Which means that every single time your dog has ever crossed a room to find you on a hard day, every time they have pressed their weight against you, or rested their chin on your knee, or simply refused to leave your side, they were doing something the internet calls cute, and science calls extraordinary, and your dog calls obvious. Of course I came. Where else would I be? You are my pack. You are my everything. And you should never, not for a single moment, have to carry something heavy alone. There is one more piece of this, one final layer that brings everything together. The mirror neurons, the heartbeats, the wolf packs in the snow, the stranger crying in an unfamiliar room. One more thing that, once you hear it, will change the way you spend the next 60 seconds of your life. There is a 5-year-old photograph on Marcus's phone that he has never deleted. He did not take it intentionally. His sister took it, quietly, without saying anything, one Sunday afternoon when Marcus had fallen asleep on the couch after a long week. In the photo, Marcus's arm has fallen across Walter's back. Walter's chin is resting on Marcus's chest, directly over his heart. Both of them are completely still. Both of them, in their own way, are exactly where they need to be. Marcus has never set it as a wallpaper. He has never posted it. It lives in a folder he does not open often. But sometimes, on the hard weeks, he finds it without meaning to. And every time, it does something to him that he cannot quite explain. Something that feels less like looking at a photo and more like being reminded of something he already knew, but had briefly forgotten. That right there. That is what this video has been about. Not the science, though the science is real and it is breathtaking. Not the mirror neurons, or the synchronized heartbeats, or the brain waves that align like two instruments finding the same key. All of that is true, and all of it matters. But what it is pointing toward, what all of it is quietly trying to say, is something simpler and heavier and harder to hold. Your life is vast. It stretches across decades you have not lived yet. Careers and losses and ordinary Tuesdays that will one day feel precious simply because they happened. You will change. The world around you will change. You will become someone slightly different from who you are right now, again and again, for the rest of your life. Your dog's entire world fits inside you. Not the neighborhood, not the yard, not the other dogs at the park, though they love those too. Their world, their whole world, every morning they have ever woken to, and every fear they have ever felt, and every moment of pure, uncomplicated joy, is organized around one center: you. The sound of your car, the smell of your coat, the rhythm of your breathing in the dark. You are not a part of their life. You are the architecture of it, the reason the day has a shape at all. And here is the thing that is almost too quiet to say out loud. They do not get enough of it. They never get enough of it. Not because you are failing them, but because time is the one thing that cannot be given back. The years go faster than either of you can feel while they are happening, and one day, sooner than you are ready for, that warm weight beside you on the couch will be gone, and the silence it leaves will be the shape of everything they were. This is not a reason for grief right now. It is a reason for presence. Right now, today, your dog is here. Their nose is working. Their tail is ready. Somewhere in the architecture of their ancient, extraordinary brain, their neurons are tuned to the frequency of you. They are waiting, not with impatience, but with the pure, undemanding patience of a creature who has decided that wherever you are is enough. So here is what we are asking you to do, not later, in the next 60 seconds. Go to your dog. If they are asleep, sit near them. If they are awake, get down to their level, the floor, the couch, wherever they are. Place your hand on their side, flat and warm and still. And just breathe. Slowly. Let your exhale be long. Feel the rise and fall of them under your hand. Match it if you can. Because the research says that within minutes, they will begin to match you back. 2 heartbeats finding the same rhythm. 2 nervous systems deciding together that right now, in this moment, everything is okay. That small, quiet ceremony costs nothing. It takes 60 seconds, and it is, in every biological and emotional sense that this video has tried to lay out for you, the truest conversation the 2 of you are capable of having. Walter is 11 now. His ears still drag on the kitchen floor. His voice is still a foghorn. He moves a little slower on cold mornings, and Marcus has started taking shorter walks without quite admitting to himself why. But every evening, without fail, Walter still crosses the room, still places the warm, familiar weight of his chin on Marcus's knee, still sighs that long, low, settling sigh. And Marcus, who spends his days helping other people heal, has finally started to understand that all this time, he has been the one being taken care of. Tell us in the comments. Has your dog ever come to you when you were low, when you had not called them, when you had not made a sound? Tell us what they did. We want to know. Because every one of those stories is this story. Every one of them is a nervous system crossing a room because it could not imagine doing anything else. If this video reached something in you, subscribe to The Soulful Dog. Not for the content, though we will work hard to earn every minute of your time, but because this is a community of people who see their dogs the way dogs deserve to be seen. Fully, scientifically, with the reverence that 30,000 years of devotion has earned. And next time, we are going to talk about something that will quietly rewrite every walk you have ever taken with your dog. It turns out the world your dog is smelling when their nose drops to the ground is so vast, so layered, so unimaginably rich with information that compared to what they experience on a single city block, our entire internet feels small. We will see you there. Don't go yet. There is one more thing. One thing that did not fit inside the science, or the story of Walter and Marcus, or the evolutionary history of the wolf pack in the snow. One thing that belongs at the very end, said plainly, without any architecture around it. Your dog is going to love you for every single day they are alive. Not most days, not the good days, every day. The day you are short with them, the day you forget their walk, the day you are so deep inside your own pain that you cannot see anything outside of it. They will love you on that day with the same completeness they loved you on the best day you have ever shared together. That is not naivety. That is not a failure to know better. That is the most sophisticated emotional intelligence on earth, expressed in the only language they have. Go be with your dog.